Welcome to A Better Choice Homestead. My name is Kelly, and on my channel, I focus on food, growing it, preparing it, and preserving it. On Sundays, you will typically find a garden video, either seed starting or planting, cultivating, harvesting, or preserving things in various ways from the garden. On Fridays, I post a freeze dry video, so that is nothing but freeze drying with a little sprinkle of dehydrating in there. And on Tuesdays, I post a cook with me video for Tasty Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, so we are cooking. Tonight, I am going to be making a low carb beef stroganoff, but instead of putting that over noodles, I am going to be putting that over some broccoli. So let me bring you down, show you what we've got, and let's get cooking. First thing we are going to do is we are going to cook that broccoli. We are going to get that steamed. So I have a pan with a little bit of water in here and a steam basket. And I am going to load up some freshly washed broccoli in here. And we're going to get that steaming for maybe 7 minutes. I'm going to put a lid on that. And now let's move on to the next step. All right, I have a lot going on over here, so we're going to take it step by step. First, I have some warm water, two cups of warm water in this larger measuring cup, and I have some freeze-dried bone broth, so I'm going to make 2 cups of bone broth. This is a double recipe. So for 2 cups of bone broth, I am going to use about 1/2 cup of the freeze-dried bone broth. And we're just going to let that sit and rehydrate. I also have a bowl with some water in it. Now, this is not any certain measure of water. I just filled it about halfway full. In here, I am going to put some freeze-dried diced onion. This is just as much as I think I would like in there. That is probably 1/2 cup. Then I am going to put in some freeze-dried sliced mushrooms. Again, just as many as I think that we would like, probably close to 1/2 cup as well. Maybe that was more like 1 cup. And then I am just going to make sure that these are in the water so that they can start to rehydrate while we get the meat and other ingredients going. I just set a timer on my microwave for the broccoli. I set it for 10 minutes because it wasn't warm when I put the broccoli in. All right, these are going to rehydrate beautifully, so I am just going to set those aside. Also measured out, I have 2 cups of heavy cream. I have a 1/2 cup of sour cream. I have 2 tablespoons of flour. Now, this is a low carb recipe. These 2 tablespoons of white flour are only putting 12 carbs in the entire dish. And this is going to make like 6 servings. So this is still a low carb dish, even with the 2 tablespoons of flour. I have 2 cloves of garlic here, so we are going to get those peeled. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you've probably seen me use this. This is a garlic roller. This is a game changer when it comes to peeling garlic. You put the clove of garlic inside the tube, and you put the palm of your hand over the garlic, and then you just roll it, and the peels come right off. So actually there was 3 pieces of garlic in here. They were small. They were masquerading as 1 piece. And let's do these over here. We like garlic. You can add as little or as much as you'd like. So jackets are off of that one. And that one. This is so quick and easy. I highly recommend a garlic roller. Now I am going to just dice these up to like a mince, just a small chop. I do have a mince press, but I already have my knife out, so we're just going to use this. So I went one way with those, and now I'm just going to go the other way just to get them a bit smaller. And that looks just fine. So I'm actually going to pop those into my little measuring cup here just to keep them out of the way for a minute. Now for the meat, you want to use for beef stroganoff, you want to use a tender cut of meat. I have used beef tenderloin before. You can use a sirloin because this is a quick cook, so you don't want a tough meat. I have two filet mignon steaks. These came with my annual butcher pickup. I buy in bulk from a local farmer, and I was actually surprised that I got filet mignons because I don't like filet mignons. So, and I got a bunch of these. So I'm not sure how that happened. I know I didn't put that on my order, but that's okay because when they're cut down and cooked in a dish, they're fine. I just don't like the flavor and the texture of them cooked as steak. So with these, I am going to slice them up thinly. Let me get them out of the bags. And this is about 1 3/4 pounds total. So the recipe calls for a pound per recipe, and we're about doubling this recipe. So I am just going to slice these up thinly across the grain. So probably 1/4 inch slices, or maybe 1/8 actually inch slices. And I'm also going to get my burner on to medium high. This is so tender. It cuts beautifully. Sure does look like a lot more meat when it's all chopped up. What I'm going to do now is put some oil in the pan, and then we're going to brown this meat in 2 batches. We don't want to crowd the pan. If you crowd the pan, you're just going to get a whole lot of juices that release and create a wet environment, and then your meat is not going to brown, it's going to braise. I'm going to start by adding a little olive oil to the pan. And we'll let that get hot for just a minute. All right, I can see some smoke coming off of there now. So I am going to just start layering in some of this sliced beef, filet mignon. And this is going to go quick. About the time that I get the pan filled, we're going to have to flip it and take them out. That's the timer for the broccoli, so I'm going to check on that here in just a second. I'm going to give that another minute. All right, we don't want this 100% cooked through. We want it almost cooked through because it is going to finish cooking in the sauce. So I'm just transferring it to a bowl. that I have a lid for. I'm going to cover up my meat to keep that warm, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the broccoli off. We've got some good color developing on this meat. I'm flipping the ones again that I can see some red still coming up through, but these are just about done. And then we have a few more pieces. Really is lovely color on those. When cooking, color equals flavor. All right, we don't have much left here. That looks good. I am going to open this bowl and transfer these pieces in. Next, I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of butter to this pan. It's 2 tablespoons per batch, and I am doing a double batch. Now I'm going to add my rehydrated, freeze-dried mushrooms and onions. Now, you may not have freeze-dried mushrooms and onions, so at this point you would just add in your chopped mushrooms and onions. One of the nice things about using freeze-dried is they cook really fast. So if you were using fresh, this would take probably 8 minutes to cook these down. But these are done. These are already done. So next, I'm going to sprinkle that flour in the pan. And I'm going to let that incorporate with the butter that's in there. And we're going to cook the flour down until it doesn't taste like flour anymore. So just a minute or two. We're just cooking the flour flavor off. And it's mixing with that butter, the fat, to make a roux. Next, I'm going to add the garlic, and we're just going to cook this until it gets fragrant. So that just takes a minute. And I love using cast iron. I do have a really nice set of all-clad pans, including frying pans, but my go-to is always cast iron. You can season it yourself and it becomes totally non-stick and so easy to clean up. All right, that's fragrant. So next I'm gonna pour in that beef bone broth. This is homemade beef bone broth. If you'd like to see how I made this, I will have a video coming out on that soon. And I am just gonna pour that in. And we're gonna mix that all together. You could use a whisk for this step. I like things simple and quick and less things to wash. All right, that is well incorporated. We've deglazed the bottom of the pan here as well. So next I'm gonna pour in the 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. And just mix that together. That is looking so lovely. And we're just gonna let that simmer for 1 or 2 minutes until we see that it's starting to thicken up. In the meantime, I'm gonna transfer this half cup of sour cream into this ramekin because I wanna temper it with some of the liquid that is in the pan so that we don't curdle the sour cream. So I've got the sour cream in here. And I'm gonna use the 1/4 inch measuring cup that I had that garlic in, and I'm gonna slowly pour that in with the sour cream. I'm gonna mix that up, and I'm probably gonna do that 2 more times just so that all the sour cream gets a little acclimated to that heat before I pour it into the pan. Give this a stir, and that is starting to thicken nicely. I'm gonna turn this down to a simmer. And now this is looking good. This looks like soupy sour cream, which means the temperature has been raised throughout all of the sour cream and it should not curl when we put it into the pan. All right, we're gonna go ahead and add the sour cream mixture into the pan, and then we are gonna stir this constantly until it is well combined. All right, I'm going to add some Worcestershire sauce, a tablespoon or two. And that's going to take forever. This is a new bottle, so I'm just going to dump some in here. About a tablespoon. And then I am also going to add some Dijon mustard. I don't like it very mustardy, so I am just going to do a little squirt. And then we're going to get that stirred in. This is thickening up nicely. And now we're going to add the meat back in. Give that a stir. Now in here, we're going to let the meat heat back up. And then we're going to add the broccoli. But first, I'm going to give it a little salt and a little pepper. Seasonings are always to taste. I just like to do a healthy sprinkle of salt. And a healthy sprinkle of pepper. This smells so good. Broccoli looks wonderful. And I am just going to add that to this sauce. All right, I'm turning the heat off on the pan now. This is done. This is beautiful. Let's get this plated up. All right, let's get some. This looks really, really good. I'm getting a lot of broccoli, not a lot of meat. There we go. Oh, all right, we have some beautiful, tender steak in here. We have some broccoli. The broccoli could have been cooked a little bit less time, but it's still going to be wonderful. And the sauce, oh, that sauce smells so good. And it just looks so appetizing. Now you could certainly make this and pour it over noodles, but I think that I've said many, many times that right now we are eating low carb in this house. Somebody here is on a diet trying to lose a lot of weight. They've lost just over 100 pounds. They're almost done, but so proud of them. So we are doing everything we can in support of that. Let's take a bite. It's hot. Okay, I know I said at the beginning of this video that I did not like filet mignon steak, and that is true. But in here, it just melts in your mouth, and there is so much flavor going on in here with the mushrooms, the onions, the garlic, that Worcestershire sauce, even the broccoli. Everything just melts in your mouth. I have to do another bite. Mm. This is so satisfying. It is so tasty in 30 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me here in my kitchen today. You're at A Better Choice Homestead. My name is Kelly, and I hope you come back and visit again soon.